Hey guys, so right now I'm going to be making the ministry progress summary through January 15th, 2023. So this time I was mostly working on studies. We also had a couple long conversations about some of the stuff related to what I was working on. I started a topic on the forum and it got really busy. And then I emailed my mentor about some of the same stuff. And then towards the end of this last cycle as well, I kind of researched and decided where I might want to start getting involved locally. So that was something that I had kind of been planning to do for a while, but I finally got around to it this time. So hitting these things in a bit more depth. First on the in-progress studies. So these are the same as the ones that I mentioned last cycle. One talking about how Christians ought to view the concept of judging, kind of as comes up at the beginning of Matthew chapter 7. Making sure that we don't engage in hypocritical judgment. And even given that, how do we evaluate the behavior of others so that we know who to associate with and who we might want to avoid for our own spiritual safety and things like that. And then issues in the modern church, so dealing with the concept of lukewarmness and perhaps some of the things that we ought to be careful of as we try to decide what churches to get involved in. And so I just don't want to release anything before I feel like things are ready here. I've written more now since the last cycle, and I split things into several parts, so maybe like 3 parts, at least for the kind of lukewarmness of the church one, but I still don't want to release the earlier parts, even though I'm pretty sure they're going to end up towards the beginning of the sequence, just until I know for sure the full order of the topics and that I won't change things around anymore. Maybe I'll put a couple paragraphs from one part of the study to another and things like that. I just want things to stabilize a bit. And so that's why, even though I've been working here and, I've written quite a bit, a few pages here, nothing is going to go up probably until I'm just more certain of the structure of the studies here. So I did spend a good bit of time here working on this cycle, but in the process of writing those, I started researching a topic. I wanted to get my friend's perspective on it. So some of my fellow preparing Bible teachers that we have a section on the forum for, I just wanted to see what they thought given their experience. And so I started a thread, and then it ended up being very, very active across these last couple weeks. So across the 4 people participating, me and one friend in particular were probably the most active posters, but there were 4 of us that were participating. We had about 85 posts, and if you press Control P, try to see how long it'd be if you printed it out in paper, it'd actually be about 130 pages single spaced. So, obviously these posts are not short. And so that's an awful lot, of course. And, this happened, not just over the course of a single day or 2, but maybe over a week, week and a half. And so as that conversation was being undertaken, I emailed my mentor about some of the same things, same topics, again, somewhat related to the things that I'm going over here, this idea of lukewarmness and when we decide we want the truth, how quickly do we get it, and how does our free will interact with some of that? And so that's kind of at a high level the topic being discussed here. But as you can see, obviously very active discussion here, and so it got pretty long. I don't think we're quite done. I think we're kind of taking a break here for the moment, but we'll probably pick back up and keep going at some point once we have more time again. So this was kind of related to the in-progress studies here. So just some of those topics, having a lot of discussion with some of my friends as well as my mentor about some of the things that I'm writing about. And then finally, towards the end of this cycle, I kind of did some research. I made a spreadsheet, came up with some criteria, and then went through a whole bunch of the churches that are local to me to try to figure out where I want to start getting involved locally. And so, I live in South Georgia, and so there are a lot of churches around here. And so I made a spreadsheet. Of course, I didn't look at literally every single one within, like a 10-mile radius or whatever, but, I did compile a spreadsheet. I tried to come up with some criteria for some of the things that I might be looking for. So for example, having meetings, small group meetings of people around my age, so young adults, as opposed to, I don't know, maybe high schoolers or, older folks. And so specifically having that peer group, people close to the age of myself and my roommate was kind of one of the criteria I was looking for, and other things like that. And so given that I've now narrowed things down, I have several options here. I'm going to I'll probably go to a couple in the next couple of weeks and try to start getting involved. And so this is something that has kind of been a long time in coming. I have been preparing the ministry website and the YouTube channel and working on content, but past a certain point, I'm just going to have to start getting involved. And so I'm really looking forward to it, having more of a social life again and things like that. And so I did the research this time to try to narrow down the options around me to pick out the places that I think will be a good fit. And so I did that towards the end of this cycle, and that's really it. So this one's going to be pretty short. Again, worked on the studies and had conversations based on some of the things there, and these just ended up blowing up, and so they got really long. So lots of time spent there, kind of discussing some of the matters that are that I'll be writing about more in the future here, and then trying to pick out where I might get involved locally, and that was really most of what happened these last couple of weeks. So I guess not too much to show for it, nothing fancy that I can show you here on this ministry progress summary, but in the next couple of weeks, I'm hoping to continue work on the studies I mentioned. We'll see if I actually manage to finish one or at least get it stabilized enough that I can start posting stuff. I mean, hopefully, I don't want this to take, super long. I'd rather have a little bit more consistent release schedule, but if not, that's life. And then, like I said, probably going to visit a couple of the options that I settled on when I was narrowing things down here to start getting involved in the local fellowship. So that's what I have coming up. And so I hope this was helpful for those tuning in to see what's going on in the life of this ministry. And I will talk to you all again next time.